Hi friends, today we'll talk about memories of a journalist and former policeman Sergei Lyutykh in his column for Gazeta.ru, where he tells the story of his grandfather Boris Afanasyevich Lyutykh, who was born in 1917, the year of two revolutions, went through 3 wars and was twice in the Penal battalion. My grandfather joined the Red Army in 1938, which was a great success. Earlier, his father, Athanasius, who was a peasant, was repressed as a church elder, and the family at once became the poorest in the village. Military service allowed a village boy from the Orlov region to see the country and become a man. In 1938, as a simple soldier, he participated in the Battle of the Khalkhyn-Gol River and fought with the Japanese, who invaded the territory of the friendly to the USSR Mongolia. The fighting lasted from May to September and ended with the victory of the Red Army. Georgy Zhukov showed his military commander's talent there. My grandfather also distinguished himself in those battles, for which he was sent to the courses of junior lieutenants named after Kirov. Second war for Boris Afanasyevich took place in the Soviet-Finnish War, which began just a few months after Khalkhyn-Gol, and my grandfather had to quickly learn to ski and drag a Maxim machine gun through the snow. Many years later, my father was surprised to see Boris Afanasyevich go on a ski trip not in a tracksuit but right in his coat. "My son, I have been used to it since the Finnish War," he said. However, the Finnish company did not become an easy work for Soviet soldiers. Here they had to face all the charms of the northern winter spent in the trenches and with the military talent of Gustav Mannerheim, a former general of the Russian Tsarist army and now commander-in-chief of the Finnish army. He managed to organize a defense on the line which was named the Mannerheim Line. However, 3 months after the beginning of the conflict, in the spring of 1940, the line was broken through and the Finns came to negotiate with Stalin. As a result, the Soviets moved the borders away from Leningrad, gained full control over Lake Ladoga and secured Murmansk, and my grandfather distinguished himself in battle and earned the Order of Red Star. In October 1940, Boris Afanasyevich received the rank of second lieutenant. He met the Great Patriotic War as a platoon commander of a machine gunners in the 658th Rifle Regiment of the 125th Rifle Division 2 weeks before the Germans invaded the territory of the USSR, and they were transferred to the state border on the territory of Lithuania. The regiment retreated with battles, suffered huge losses, repeatedly got in and got out of the encirclement. Since June, my grandfather has been on the list of missing persons. He worked with the soldiers at night through the swamps because the Germans already controlled the roads. When they finally came out on their own, they managed to save the banner, the machine gun and the wounded commissar. Perhaps this saved him from being shot, but his grandfather was demoted and sent to the Penal battalion. The Penal Guards retreated to the northern capital and merged with the ranks of the defenders of Leningrad. My grandfather did not tell me what he had to go through there, and already in 1942 he was restored and Boris Afanasyevich continued his service in the same 657th Regiment. As a reminder of that Leningrad period, a soldier's belt remained. From that time until his death, Grandfather Boria had a habit of collecting crumbs from the table into a cup or jar for his branded ersatz. However, my other older relatives also had a tradition of careful attitude to food. The siege of Leningrad, as you know, lasted 872 days, and it was not a sit-down in the trenches, but a desperate resistance to the enemy who used napalm, cunning maneuvers and starvation to conquer the besieged city, but failed. When the Germans were driven back to Germany, the 657th Regiment again went through the Baltic states in 1944. Boris Afanasyevich found himself almost in the same places from where he began his combat path in 1941. And somewhere in those parts that later became the Kaliningrad region, and then it was still East Prussia, the machine gunners who were subordinate to my grandfather freed prisoners of one of the German concentration camps and shot the guards from the SS who had not had time to escape. Boris Afanasyevich does not tell anyone the details of what exactly happened and where exactly it happened. Grandfather was not at all inclined to detailed stories about the war. Did he personally take part in this shooting? Did he give any command? As a result of the proceedings, they decided to demote him and send him back to the Penal battalion for a short time. There are cases of much less serious offenses for which the tribunal could sentence a serviceman to execution or prolonged imprisonment. It's difficult to imagine what can happen to a person who, having a weapon in his hands, will face the monstrous crimes committed by the Nazis, especially literally catching them by the hand. Boris Afanasyevich was the son of a church warden and a very religious man. Years later, he regularly went to Sunday services in one of the few functioning churches in Moscow, went even when he was laughed at in his family, even when it interfered with promotion. In recent years, declassified documents from the archives of the Ministry of Defense and the FSB of Russia have been published as part of the project without a statute of limitations. It clearly describes the horrors that the fascists were doing in East Prussia. There is a lot of evidence about how all these guards and their commanders hurried to kill as many people as possible, knowing about the imminent arrival of the Red Army. Having got into the Penal battalion for the second time, Boris Afanasyevich stormed countless fortresses and bastions of Königsberg. He survived by a miracle, and after the victory he changed the Maxim machine gun to a peaceful profession as an accountant, and never took up arms again. My grandfather died a year before I was born, in 1984. I am very sorry that I never got to meet him personally, but I feel that he is always somewhere nearby. But in any case, my grandfather's pain and blood flows in me. Thank you for watching the video. It was Oleg and the Red Army channel. Write your comments and don't forget to put likes.